One of the biggest mistakes that I see brands make when they employ writers, whether it's in-house, freelance, copywriter, etc., is they take these writers, they preach to them, please, we want to create great content. We've seen your portfolio. We think you can do great work. Just go create us some blog posts, some infographics, some reports, some white papers, etc. Just go do your thing. Create. And that's the brief. That's what they tell them to go do, and they expect the world back. Here's the reality, folks. This is not the best strategy for ensuring that you can get the best work out of your writers. If you want to get great work out of your writers, you want to arm them with a few tools to help them create content that will drive results for your business. And in this video, my hope is to share with you some of the tools that I believe are key to get exactly that. The first thing that you want to develop, the first thing that you want to arm your writing team with, whether it's a group of freelancers, an agency, or whatever, is a tone and voice guideline. That is, you want to show them and give them a clear understanding of the way in which your brand voice operates, especially if they are white labeling this content and their name's not going on it. You want them to sound like you. And the only way to do that is to brief them on your tone. Are you casual? Are you formal? Are you professional? Are you academic? Are you boring? Are you straightforward? Are you blunt? Do you swear? Do you not swear? Are you casually informal? Do you throw in slang? What are the things that you are more likely to say that maybe your competitors would never say? Are there certain topics that you never discuss on your website? Are there certain phrases that you don't say? Do you use $500 words or do you use a lot of $20 words? What is it that differentiates your voice from everybody else? Do you use emojis? Maybe you avoid emojis. All of these things are important and you need to have documented as a part of your tone and voice guidelines. It's important that you arm your writers with this insight so they're not creating content that sounds like Red Bull for a brand that feels like Oracle. And oftentimes this tone and voice documentation is simply based on your own understanding of your audience. You have to understand what type of content, what type of language, what type of messaging will resonate with your audience. It's very common that you will see a certain type of content resonate extremely well in, let's say, the healthcare space. But that type of content fall flat on its face when you start trying to deliver it to a sales group in the world of inside sales, or maybe to a world of Instagram models and influencer marketers. Like, all of these groups are different, and all of these groups will resonate differently with different types of content. So arm your writers with a document that helps them understand the people they're trying to reach and the voice that they need to use and the tone they need to use to ensure that those people connect with their content. The second thing that I think you need to arm your writers with is benchmark content. What is benchmark content? It's content that sets the benchmark for what you are trying to accomplish. If you identify an asset that you've already published in the past that is going above and beyond the status quo of your industry and of your competitors, and you say to a writer, this is the level of expectation that we have when it comes to the content that you're producing. We need content that's well researched. We need content that it has graphics, that has quotes from third parties, whatever it may be. If you are going to be having your writers go and create that type of content, there's no better way than helping them understand what your vision is than showing them that vision in reality. So send them a link to content that you have developed in the past that kind of sets the bar for what they need to deliver as well. The third thing that you need to give writers when they're creating content is access. What do I mean by access? I mean access to the people who are closest to whatever it is that you sell. Meaning, if you have a software as a service product, you need to give your writers access to your sales team to ensure that they can ask them questions about the product. You need to give them access to a frequently asked questions section of your website so they can go through that and understand it. You want to give them access to documentation around your product so they can take screenshots, so they can learn about your product. They can learn the ins and outs about it. You want to give them access to demos, whatever it may be. You want to give them access to your team so they can create informed and valuable content. Access is especially important when you start to create content like case studies. You want to give them access to information around the client, access to information around the project that you did with them. You want them to have access to your team to gain insight that will ensure that the content that they're developing is based off of truth. So by providing that writer with access to your team, providing that writer with access to materials that may have already been developed in the past, whatever it may be, it's all about giving them access to whatever it is that they need to create the best asset possible. And the fourth thing that you need to arm your writing team with is a content brief. Sure, I would love to say that every content marketer, every writer, every freelancer knows the importance of this and they will actually get it out of you by asking you questions. But the truth is, early on, when freelancers are just getting started, some of the content agencies that are out there, they don't do this and they rely on gut instinct and just hit the ground running and create content. But if you can arm them with a brief or a content framework, which we call them, you can essentially ensure that the content that you get at the end of the day is going to line up with your expectation and your vision. A content framework should identify the goal, it should identify the audience, it should identify any keywords that you're targeting, it should be identifying what channels you want this to be spread on, it should be identifying the key assets on your website that you might want to call out, or any landing pages that you want referenced. It should be referencing any lead magnets that you want plugged through the content. All of these things should make up that content framework. In addition, you should be answering the question, what do you want people to do after they read this post? Do you want them to feel inspired to share? Do you want them to feel inspired to click on a call to action and then submit their email? Do you want them to feel inspired to reach out to your product team and ask them questions? What is it that you want out of this piece of content? You want to include all of that inside of your content brief, inside of the content framework. And when you give a framework to the writer, that writer is more likely to come back to you with a deliverable that will line up with your goals, with your audience, and with your objectives for this entire project. So there you have it. Those are the 4 tools that I believe you should be equipping your content marketers, your content writers with before they start to create any type of asset. And don't get me wrong, I do believe that content writers, content marketers, anybody who's creating content should also be requesting this type of information from their clients. It's the only way that they can serve you well. It's the only way that they can create content that will actually drive results based off of your goals, based off of your objectives, and what you are setting out to achieve. So if you're having difficulties figuring out how to get this stuff put together, don't hesitate to drop a comment below. I'd be more than happy to help. But if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, I already do all of these different things and I'm still getting back bad, mediocre, poorly written content, then it might be time to move on from the person or people that you've engaged to begin with. I would also love to hear from you. Is there anything that I missed? If you are a content writer, if you're a content creator, drop a comment below and let me know something that you'd love to get access to when you are about to take on a content project. I really hope this content provides you with some value. If you want more content like this, don't hesitate to hit subscribe. And if you really liked it, hit that like button as well. If you want more content like this, don't forget to check out rawsimmonds.com. It's the only place where I'm constantly delivering content that will help you generate more leads and as a result, live more life. See you next time.